Hi, I'm Laurie Dobson. Today is January 27th, 2021, in what is my continuing chronicle of life under all things strange and impossible. Impossible to accept that we are accepting anyway, because that's what we're expected to do. Except I don't accept all this stuff going on right now. I completely reject it. I reject cancel culture. I reject the intimidation. I reject the forced lockdown, which is just a fancy way of saying depriving people of their lives and their liberty, of everything. And it's just an entire world takedown orchestrated by a few billionaires in a comfortable room in Davos, no doubt, and coordinated with all the other people, arm twisting, forcing governments to, to either lose everything economically or whatever, if they don't bow down and accept this new way of doing things, promises that they'll benefit greatly if they go along with it. And the lure of that, the corruption of that, or the pressures on maybe some of the more honest ones, telling them that, then they must have to resort to other means to get them to do things, which, of course, with the NSA and the spying, they can do anything on anybody. They have any means to do anything on anybody. So nobody's free from ruin that way. And they control the media, so that the take on that. So there's really nowhere any individual can go except an appeal on a very small scale to other people to have common sense, to allow discussion and disagreement on these major things, and to insist on a different way of approach. If it's impossible, how can you accept it? And if you do accept it, how do you manage the adjustment to a world where there's no freedom? I mean, there's definitely adjustment problems. Some of us are having, maybe more so than others, especially if you've had to work yourself out from underneath somebody else's thumb or a subjugated situation, and you found freedom, you found your voice, you know who you are, you stand for it, and you try to make a difference in the world based on who you truly are, not on what you're expected to be. And obviously everybody wants to get along as much as we can, but to expect people to get along at the cost of their individual humanness, to just completely subvert and force people to submit to that, it means that everyone in the world is, how can we throw our hands up and say the human race is gone, is a foregone conclusion, because people are so willing to punish and to hurt other people? But we have to recognize that is a huge part of our nature. If nothing else, this lockdown has shown us that we are so able so quickly to not only give up our freedom, but to punish other people for having any semblance of freedom on their part. And if we don't all agree together, freedom is for everybody or for nobody. If we don't agree to some of those universal laws and common laws for the common good, then it's a sham to support people like Martin Luther King, because he called for that and he risked his life for that, and he eventually died for that because he was insisting on that. And of course, who else died insisting on equality for everyone and the betterment of society? Well, Jesus for sure, right? Who else has been punished? Anybody that's really acted on people's behalf and not just pretended to while they were serving their own interests. I'm not gonna stand here and try to do a history of it right now. I can't seem to recall too many people besides Jesus and Martin Luther King. Oh well, yeah, JFK, okay, Robert F. Kennedy to a degree, no doubt. Fred Hampton, and 21 years old. He just wanted a fair shake for everybody. Once he started saying the cause was everybody and not just a splinter group, he was a danger, because when you splinter people is how you control them. Nobody can be controlled if they don't get splintered first. And so when you try to work with people, like I've tried here on this island, I'll give you a for instance, when you try to work with people to come up with an idea that works for all of us and not just a few, that will help everybody and not just benefit a few factions, you're looked at as somebody trying to change the status quo. The we've always done it this way. You shouldn't try to do anything different that might actually get more people involved in your organization. I'm speaking about a particular organization I'm involved in, and it's it's difficult working with people who, once they get a little bit of power, decide to get ruthless with it. They just, you never really know a person until you give them a little power, and then they become exactly what they said they wouldn't be. And the reason that they got in the first place was by saying, well, pay attention to what people want, new people want, and all ideas are welcome at the table. Well, that, when push comes to shove, those people just want to crack down. And if they're presidents of organizations, they just want to take over, and they don't want you to have any say, even if you're a member of a board and, it's supposed to be for everybody. That's the kind of thinking that unfortunately, in the old days, you could argue committees were formed and things looked at and in more of a democratic way of working. But now in this culture, that way of thinking is empowered. And, Trump, to a degree, redefined presidential power, so everything is by fiat or by decree, and so we've gotten used to that. But now, okay, is it any different under Biden? It's even worse in a way, because it's the fiat of the invisible presidency. Is just the way it is, and the ones who have the power can decide, and anyone that doesn't go with that, doesn't comport with that, is gone. So nothing is visible, nothing is seen, nothing is worked out in front of people. It's all supposedly decided in the back rooms, and then agendas are decided, whether they're agreed upon or not. If the president can send out an agenda and say, here's what we're going to talk about, that's what we do. That's what we decide. And anyone else with any other ideas about it, sorry, you don't have the power, so you don't have the voice. Well, we can't live life like that. So here I am in a bit of a conundrum, because I've been put in a situation where I have to either submit to that way of working. I can be a silent member of a board, or I can raise a stink and say that's not the way I think we ought to work. We ought to be more inclusive of other people's ideas. But that idea is not popular, especially when you get to an island in Maine, of all places. Maine is pretty contrary, especially islands. And especially organizations on islands that have been around for a long time. So what was I thinking? I don't know. Oh, God. I don't know. This is one of those videos I'm probably doing for myself. Anyway, let me try to see if I can resurrect the point here. All right. So the point I'm making is the cancel culture has just gone way too far into regressionville. When McCarthy era tactics were working, you're with us or you're against us. Those are Bush's words resurrected from him. And, is it always ever just going to boil down to that? If you're with us, if you agree with us, you can join us. But when you join us, you can't have your own voice. You have to funnel everything through our voice. And if it comports, great. If it stays on topic, great. Our topic or our decisions. But if you disagree, nope, you're canceled. You're canceled in every way possible. You're going to be you're going to be gossiped about. You're going to have your reputation smeared. You're going to have people align with you because it suits the people that do it. All so that you can be controlled, because your voice is inclusive of things that give them less power. And I don't know. That's as far as I can go on that one without getting more into specifics. So out of deference to those involved, I'm just hoping this is something they'll listen to, because cancel culture leads to worsening conditions. And then they'll just be trying to find somebody to blame. So the usefulness of staying on and being quiet is to try to avoid being used that way. If I just shut up, put up, do the kinds of things I've learned not to do because they never work, then I risk being the person who is going to be not only the pariah, but the one who can be blamed if things go wrong. Because you see, we have to have someone to blame. And that's already starting to, by being quiet in any way and not confronting the prevailing opinions, which are looking for, taking down, they're looking for culprits. Just like at the Capitol when the riot happened, they're looking for culprits to blame, for the fact that the election was, it was not exactly done above board. There's just too much there to just swallow. it was all just done perfectly and fine, we have no problems. No, but we'll distract you now, and we'll find a culprit. Oh, it's that person over there who is not agreeing with us. That person's wrong, and you are too, by the way, if you agree with them. It's a way to keep people under the thumb. It's a bullying, and it's happening now more and more. Another example of this was last night when I got a phone call, and I was somebody who has no authority trying to find out if I'm going to sign a vaccine, if I'm going to be one of the ones getting the vaccine, or if my boyfriend is. So I'm supposed to not just divulge my own personal medical information, but somebody else's as well. Which it used to be considered a HIPAA violation, but in this case, it's done by somebody who doesn't even have any legitimacy, who's doing it on their own behalf. They're not the only one. There's a couple people out there trying to find out if, our islands are going to sign up to get this thing, and their reasons are so benevolent. They're trying to find out so that we can all get the nurse to come out and give us vaccines out here on the island because people are so scared to get off of the island. Well, rather than just talking to these people and helping them find a way to get past their fears and their franticness, which is what happens to you if you listen to mainstream news all the time. There's no way to avoid getting freaked out. There just isn't, because that's all they're pumping at you. You can't ingest a diet of fear and franticness and panic and not have it affect you and your immune system and your calmness and your ability to think straight. And if I didn't reject some of that as reject all of it, because I see where it's coming from. It's an intention to dominate. It's an attempt to dominate and cancel and censor people so that your life can be more, according to your own ideas. The way to really understand things is to talk to people who have a difference of opinion, to work with that, to hear them, to consider things you haven't considered before, to reckon with that and to learn from that. People see our shadows. They can see us better than we can see ourselves. And I know that happens here on a small island. I'm seeing, believe me, it's uncomfortable because my over anxieties, my grandiosity, my character weaknesses, which are, display on these tapes, of course, to the point that I sometimes come across as being ridiculous, and the criticism on that is fair. But it doesn't take away from my need to be able to, and my right to be able to express myself here and differ and disagree based on legitimate things, based on legitimate concerns. And everybody has that right. So I stand here, on my road, my little road here. Look, here it is. I keep wandering around. My dogs are now in the snow to go find them. There's one running down the road. God, you gotta love a dachshund. Ears flapping. Oh my God. Hello, baby. Hi. They love the snow. All right. Hey, all right. It's hard to be upset around happy little dogs. I will just say, I am not with this program unless I decide on my own, based on my own ears and eyes and my own evidence, what I can see, what I can believe, what I can get behind. And that's all I have to do. I don't have to do anything else for anybody else. I don't owe any allegiance to any groups that, want to keep their own little, DAR message clear, that to them, that just want to keep things the way they are, with the controls that are there, with the status quo that's there. Nobody else need apply. Closed clubs, organizations pretend to be open only so they can rope you in and tell you to behave yourself or you're out. That kind of shit. Is that what our country's getting to? You agree with us, you do our lockdowns, you do our vaccines, you do our social distancing, you do everything we tell you, or you're out of here. Well, where are they going to put us? Well, that's the dreadful question, isn't it? Where are they going to disappear us to? Because I know here on the island, they can't exactly disappear me, but they can make it pretty damn uncomfortable. And they are, well, this one situation is not comfortable, but, I do have a certain standing. I've been willing to open my mouth and say what I feel and what is true. So I stand for the people that do that, and that's the best kind of fraternity, of joining, of organizing, is with other people that also agree with the basic premise that we have a right to reasonably disagree, and we can just try to be reasonable and we can keep at it, and we don't have to give up. We don't have to just take power back because people out there seem unreasonable and they're saying things to us that are uncomfortable to hear. So we don't have to talk to them anymore. We can just, screw them. I'm my own person. Cancel them. Get rid of them. Get them off my Facebook page. Don't talk to them anymore. Yeah, that's just juvenile. We have to be better than that now, especially now. So I'm calling on all you guys, work with the people who seem to just not be able to stand the disagreements and just say, look, this isn't going to be forever. Our relationship's more important than that. But we have to believe that each of us has the respect that we deserve. And, the golden rule applies. It always applies everywhere. Don't ever treat anybody the way you don't want to be treated. Then you're just wrong automatically. And everything else is open to discussion. That's how I feel today. Have a great day. Bye, guys.